Hi, this is Susanna Magenheimer, Random Artist 222, and today I'm just doing a short walkthrough kind of tutorial on how I created this little shrine. She's about 2¼ inches tall. Retro Cafe Art put this size together for me because I was envisioning creating a necklace, or a pin, putting a pin on the back so it could be worn, something small so that I could do something like that. And it actually turned out pretty cool because you won't be able to see it when I do this, but it stands up straight. So it actually could make a really nice little fireplace mantle, ornament. Or again, you could hang a bale, what they call a bale, on the back of this and hang it on your tree. But there's so many different iterations that you could do of this. It doesn't have to be necessarily a holiday iteration, but I wanted to do one like this because of the new releases that came out of Retro Cafe Art. And one of them is, like I said, the new mini house shrine kit. It comes with a set of two. One is a squat house and one is a tall house. The tall house is 2¼ and that's what I made her from. And then the smaller house is about just under 2 inches, 1 7/8. Something I want to show here is she always puts the sticker on so that you can just, and this is made out of veneer, wood veneer, so it's a pretty thick masonite board. So, but you just pull it off and you have all the pieces stuck together, so that's really convenient. One thing I wanted to show you that I did is on the background of this, and I'll zoom in so you can see, there's white edging on the side of my my piece. And the reason I do that is because I like a finished piece. And to create the background, by the way, this just came into her store from 49 & Market, Vintage Artistry Noel. I liked the fact that it had a lot of solid panels in it, and even the ones that weren't completely solid were kind of one hue, which is what I was looking for. And basically what I did is I just outlined it with a pencil and I cut it out. I'm not going to bore you by doing that right now, but what I wanted to show you was the trick. So once you cut it out, you would glue it on, right? So you can see that I've glued that on. So that's totally flush with the wood piece. I'm going to show you this way. So that's totally flush. So now what I do, once that's all glued and done, and you know that it's glued on really well, I take a piece of fine grit sandpaper and I just basically bevel the edges off so that the piece lies flat, very flat onto the wood. And then I end up with this white edging. Now, if you don't want the white edging, then go in with a, with a blender brush and blend in the color that you want. I wanted white to reflect snow, so it didn't bother me too much. But I like doing the beveled edges, and it doesn't take much. Like I said, you're just sandpapering that down a little bit. Because it gives me a feathered effect and it finishes the piece really nicely. One of the other pieces I used in here was from her new release. And actually, this isn't as new, but it's fairly new. They're called Tiny Primitive Angels. And you can see the shapes here. And again, these shapes will work in something like this, but as you can see, these are much squatter, taller pieces, obviously, than what you're seeing here. And I had her create for me, and I know she'll have no problem if you requested, a mini set of primitive angels. So here's an example of one. So you can see the comparison in the size. She's much tinier than than the tinies. And that allowed me to have more play in here. to create what I wanted to create. And I thank her for that because she's always working with me on going how small can she go. She also came out with a new reindeer collection. And for example, here you can see all the different, well, not all the different, she came out with 3 different variations on the deer, standing, the poses, etc. But I asked her again if she could make me a tinier version. So she made me itty bitty reindeer. So that you can see here in the close-up, the reindeer in the background just fits perfectly. So again, that's how I did that. And you can see that they're really super tiny. And I love working in small scale. The Christmas tree came from her Christmas tree pack that she has, and it fit fine. If you want smaller, you could always ask her, but they were, the little tiny tree she has worked fine. And again, remember, this one's just under 2 inches tall, and this is 2 1/4. I then took some German scrap that she sells, and this is how this piece looks. And you can see that they're tiny triangles. I'll go in close so you can see. And what I did was then I wanted it gold. So what I do to save on space and stuff is I buy things either in white and black. I'm sorry, I buy things in white and then I can like washi tape. And then I can color it to my customization. Excuse me. So that's the same thing I do here. I usually buy just silver German scrap. And then I paint it gold or whatever color I want. When you do it over metallic, you get a metallic effect. So what I did painstakingly, was I cut each little triangle out. And she has if you look close up here on the face, she has what's called the fairy head collection, I believe. And that's where this head came from. But again, when I downloaded the collage set, I then shrunk the head down to fit the body the way I wanted it to. And then painstakingly, I glued every one of these little triangles to the back of her head. And then once that was done, I put it on the painted body and put the Christmas tree on, decorated it the way I wanted to with little, little jewels. And what you're also noticing here is the rooftop and these little blue stones, which aren't actually blue stones. They're clear little tiny crystals that I painted actually white to go with the icicles. Okay, so then I painted them blue because I wanted to. I first painted them white so they could go along with the roof line. But then being icicles, I wanted them to have kind of a shimmer to them. So after painting them white, I just took a little bit of blue paint and I just lightly dabbed to create that kind of like a opalescent effect. And you'll notice too here, I used this white fluff, I call it, to create the snow effect. Now, the Retro Cafe art does carry a brand of fluff, and it's, I believe it's called Lava. But there are many different types of fluff out there. So if you have some on hand, use that. The key with working with fluff is not to overheat it. It basically works like, it's like a paint that you can bubble, but I wouldn't bubble regular paint because that can be toxic. This is especially made for this. So when you apply it, depending on the thickness of how you apply it, will be the amount of dimension you're going to get in terms of the snow effect or the texture effect. Because you don't have to use this just for snow. You can paint it afterwards. But you want to be careful if you're wanting to keep it white, not to overburn it. So once you see it start to puff up like this, that's your cue that it's time to stop. Because if it goes past this point, you will start to burn or scorch. I should say not burn, but scorch your white. I then applied everything, glued everything together. And like I said, I decided that I didn't want to, I'm still deciding whether I want to call this a necklace, I want to call this an ornament, or if I want to call this just something I'm going to leave standing on my mantle for the holidays. I'm in love with her. I love her face. It turned out so cute. And I just used these flat back pearls to dress up her dress. Um, and it's a wonderful, wonderful collection of products that Retro Cafe Art carries. I love the owner. She works so well with everybody. And like I said, she's always indulging me on how small we can get things. But when I saw she has a larger version of these house shrine kits, when I saw that, I got inspired and I asked her, can we make them smaller so that we maybe can wear them or do something else with them? And so she accommodated me on that graciously. So she does carry these now. So again, this is what I created. Thank you for listening. Please remember to subscribe and like. And thank you so much for your patience. I'm slowly getting back into doing videos after my treatments. And it's fun to get in on it all again. So have a great day.